Greetings. I hope this message finds you well, and thank you for tuning in to this week's installment of Mental Health Moment with Dr. Matt. So, one of the things we've been speaking about quite a bit, especially over this past year, has been the importance of checking the facts. We don't want to accept things that are just thrown at us and readily accept them as true. However, what if the misinformation is actually coming from within your own head? Well, one of the things that we do have to think about here is that all of us perceive and respond to the world differently. And those perceptions come from lived experiences, the different things that we've been taught, the things that we've experienced, what we've come to learn is true. So, to a great extent, all of us are living more so within our own subjective reality than the actual reality that is out there. So, while we're taking a lot of time doing our additional research and so on to ensure the facts that we're receiving are accurate, what about what's going on inside our own heads? One of the things that we talk about that many people experience, including myself, are unhelpful thinking patterns, or as we like to call them, the cognitive distortions. Now, while most of us fall prey to these at some point or another, some of us do these much more often than other people, and they can become problematic over time. So, one of the things that we want to think about is having that awareness to be able to catch ourselves in the act. And this is one of my favorite activities to do with clients because we have many aha moments. And while I'm trying to keep this brief, just wanted to share these different thinking styles with you to see if you're falling prey to these here as well. The first one is all or nothing thinking, sometimes called black and white thinking, sometimes called dichotomous thinking. Here, for example, if I'm not perfect, I have failed. Now, as we know, there's no such thing as perfection for any of us. None of us are perfect. We're all flawed. And if we have that type of mentality, if I'm not perfect, I have failed, that's really out of touch with reality. The mental filter, one in which we only pay attention to certain types of evidence. We'll notice our failures, but not necessarily see our successes. Again, that's problematic and can keep us stuck in that negative thinking. Jumping to conclusions. It's like that jump to conclusions, Matt, for those of you who used to love the Office Space or still do, but so true. And there's two different types of variations of this, which include mind reading. So imagining we know what others are thinking, which oftentimes is very far from true, or fortune telling, in which we predict the future. Remember, the future is unknown, and that's a big part of the anxiety we can experience too, worrying about the unknown future and jumping to these different types of conclusions. Emotional reasoning, assuming that because we feel a certain way that what we must think is true. So I feel embarrassed. Accordingly, I must be an idiot. Again, this isn't true. Labeling. So assigning labels to ourselves and other people. I'm a loser. I'm completely useless. And as we do this over time, that can become and ground as a core belief. And when we have a core belief that I'm a loser, I'm completely useless, everything else is going to follow that, the self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. So you're going to proceed accordingly. Overgeneralizing. Everything is always awful. I always hit every single red light. I'm always late to this and that. Nothing good ever happens. Well, certainly there are some exceptions. Not everything is going to be true all the time in this type of respect. So you really need to think about where that's coming from. Disqualifying the positive. So we're discounting the good things that have happened or that you have done for some reason or another. Well, this just doesn't count. Magnification, catastrophizing different things. So we blow out of proportion here, inappropriately shrink something to make it seem less important. So we're going to extremes with what we have going on here. Should or must, using critical words like should, must, or ought. And remember, we do have choices in life. If we apply shoulds to other people, the result is often frustration because, again, we can't control anybody but our own selves. And then finally, personalization, blaming yourself for taking responsibility for something that wasn't completely your fault. Remember, there's a lot in the world that's outside of our control. We cannot control other people to that extent. So taking that and personalizing it on you is this is my fault can again become problematic, can ultimately lead to an internalized experience of shame. So I'm interested, how many of you find yourselves experiencing any of these? Any of these resonate with you as we're going across? I can certainly tell you they happen to me, and I'm interested to hear about your experience with them as well. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to hearing from you.